This is R2D Tech and we're back with another video today, this time about what in my opinion is the most exciting laptop from CES 2021, and that's the ROG Flow X13. So let's get into it. So the idea of having a portable 13-inch gaming laptop has been tried before from companies like Razer, but this is a little bit different. Here you're getting a 13-inch gaming laptop which is pretty capable in itself, but then you can also opt in to get a tiny external GPU to plug into it as well if you want much more power. And I think it's a really interesting idea. It's a bit surprising that nobody has really tried it before. And I just think, yeah, it's a really exciting idea. So let's take a look at it. So let's start with the actual laptop itself. And it's clear that the most important feature here was portability. The actual laptop weighs in at 1.3 kg and it's 15.8 millimeters thick at its thickest point, which are both pretty impressive numbers, especially considering the specs that are inside it, which we'll get onto later. I also think that it's pretty sleek overall. They've kind of based the design on the ROG Zephyrus G14. They use that as a starting point in my opinion, and overall I think it looks pretty great. It's got a two-tone corrugated finish on the top of the laptop, which also feels pretty nice in the hand. So all good things so far. In terms of specs, firstly for the processor, they're all AMD options. So it's either the AMD Ryzen 5980HS or the 5900HS, which are both pretty capable processors. That was also a trend that we saw at CES this year. There were so many new laptops that are using AMD chips instead of Intel, which is pretty exciting as well. Then for the actual graphics card within the laptop, it's going to be a GTX 1650, which is a pretty respectable graphics card in itself, especially to have in such a thin and light laptop. So you will get passable gaming performance just with this graphics card, which is pretty exciting. Then for the RAM, it's you're going to get options all the way up to 32 gigabytes, and for storage options all the way up to 1 terabyte, which are pretty standard. So now onto the battery, and it is going to be a 62 watt hour battery, which is a pretty big battery to have in a 13-inch laptop. So that's just another impressive feature. Then for the display options, you can either choose from a 1080p 120Hz panel or a 4K 60Hz panel, which are both touchscreens. Now, if you're a gamer, you probably want to go for the 120Hz panel, which should be cheaper as well. However, do bear in mind that it is a 13-inch display, so I imagine a lot of people will want to connect it to an external monitor for gaming. Yeah. One more thing that I should mention is that this laptop does have a 360-degree hinge, so you can use it in a variety of different setups, which is always a nice thing. So onto the ports, and you are getting one headphone jack, one HDMI port, one USB-A port, two USB-C ports, which can both be used to charge the laptop, and finally the ROG XG interface port, which is ROG's proprietary port to connect the eGPU. So onto that eGPU now, and as if the laptop itself wasn't impressive enough, I think this is even more impressive. So you're going to be able to go all the way up to an RTX 3080 inside an enclosure that's only 1 inch thick, or just over 1 inch thick, which I think is incredibly impressive. Now, the eGPU does connect through the proprietary ROG XG interface port, as well as the one of the USB-C ports. Now, normally I'm not such a big fan of proprietary ports because, well, it's hard for third-party developers to develop anything for that port. However, the thing is that with older eGPUs, such as the Razer Core X, they were using just the USB-C Thunderbolt 3 port. And the thing is about that is you are losing 20 to 30% of that graphical performance just through using that USB-C port alone. So there is a good reason for having this proprietary port. Apparently, you will get 57% more performance than just a Thunderbolt 3 port. So there is a really good reason for it, and I think I can get over it. So when plugged in, the eGPU will draw 280 watts of power, which is used to power the graphics card, as well as power the laptop. The laptop charges when it's plugged into the eGPU through the USB-C port. What's also nice is you can use the other USB-C port as a display port to connect to an external monitor if you want to, which is always a nice touch. So the great thing about this setup is that it offers a whole lot of flexibility. If you're going on a trip, you can take the laptop and also slip the tiny GPU enclosure into your bag as well if you want to. You can then use the laptop alone for doing watching YouTube or working or whatever, and then just plug in the eGPU when you want to do a bit of gaming, which is pretty exciting. I think that offers a lot of opportunity for a number of people to do what they want to do, which is always nice. So we don't know anything about the kind of configurations that will be available yet. However, we do know that the starting price of the laptop alone will be around £1,500, which sounds pretty expensive for a starting price. However, we'll have to wait and see what specs will be offered at that price and then make a judgment. Now, at the most expensive end, there are rumors that if you want the eGPU with the RTX 3080 in a package with the laptop, it's going to be around £3,000, which sounds phenomenally expensive even for those specs. Now, obviously, with the features that are being offered, this was never going to be a cheap laptop. And I imagine there will be a configuration somewhere in the middle of that price range, which might be a really good deal for some people. However, you're definitely going to be paying a premium here, and you should be prepared for that. Even so, I think it is a really exciting concept, and I hope other companies follow as well. It will be really good to see some other options out there, and hopefully that will also bring the price down for this whole setup. So we'll have to wait and see how other companies react, but overall I think it is a really incredible idea. That's it from this video. If you liked it, please press the thumbs up button. If you loved it, please consider subscribing.